The open 24/7 diner is very stereotypical in its nature. It has black and white tiled floor with red leather booths and a bar table with rotating bar chairs. It rests in front of a forest, but it's fairly clean and has 5-star ratings. Some food items have unconventional names, like number 1, Hellfire is actually hot chocolate with a shot of cinnamon. Number 2 is the chocolate chip cinnamon muffin that went along with the Hellfire, which is called Brimstone. Number 3 is a drunken blonde is vanilla cinnamon hot chocolate with a shot of whiskey. Number 4, Eggs Benedict is called Humpty Dumpty Had a Great Fall. Number 5, All the King's Men is a platter of toast, blueberry or chocolate chip if you prefer pancakes, chocolate chip or blueberry waffles if you prefer waffles, bacon and sausage links with your preferred drink. Number 6, All the King's Men is like All the King's Horses, but with a side dish of biscuits and gravy and hash browns. I worked as a waitress at the diner for 6 years, and boy, do I have some stories to tell about my experiences. They're not all bad stories. Like once my manager, who I'll call Matt, had told me to go deal with 2 guys fooling around in the women's restroom. They asked if I wanted to join in, but then I had to go deal with the 2 women in the men's restroom who were doing the same thing. There was one incident where I served a police officer and a prisoner. The prisoner said that I had beautiful eyes and that he would love to have them for his collection. One more story was that there was a circus with teenagers and little kids who I'm pretty sure robbed banks dressed up like clowns. I can't say actually, because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to face some sort of clown discrimination lawsuit for that. Sometimes things get a little weird at night. I work the night shift as well, so I had seen some pretty strange things. Like that weird army of lawn gnomes who were dressed in camouflage. The other waiter, Jolly, who changed his name to Jay for obvious reasons, told me that he saw little weapons resting against the building. So at least the gnomes were nice enough to leave their weapons outside. Not sure who they were waging war against, though. Jay was the replacement waiter after the last waitress, Rosalind, had run off into the woods during a full moon. On the morning of every full moon every month, she would return to the diner for breakfast, looking haggard. But it's none of my business if she has an alcohol problem. That's the only sign that she's alive. The wolf that hangs around isn't that interesting. It just lurks on the outskirts of the woods on the full moon and leers at us, waiting for one of us to be stupid and step outside to get attacked. Sometimes it'll scratch the outside of the diner and howl, sounding like a hurt animal. And the animal lover in me has to resist opening the door to make sure a hurt animal isn't out there. Oh, and the next day, a man would come in and order food looking apologetic and sheepish as he ate, apologizing for the disturbance because his pet wolf always escapes once a month. However, there are now 2 wolves that lurk on the outskirts of the woods, and I see Rosalind with the man in the diner after the full moon. The man says that Rosalind is now his mate and that he bought her a pet wolf that always escapes on the full moon as well. Okay. Oh, and then there was this incident with, I'm not entirely sure it was a vampire, but it just came out of nowhere when Jay went to give the Sasquatch some raw meat. I wasn't expecting the vampire to pop up in the back either. It just stands in front of the store all the time. The vampire chased us through the diner, and Jay and I hid in the women's restroom for the rest of the night. Matt had found us sleeping in the restroom. Jay was given lots of salty garlic fries, and Matt splashed holy water in Jay's drink to ward off any signs of vampire poisoning. He's fine, but he has 2 scars on his neck from being scratched by the darn thing. He got a raise as compensation. He refuses to give the Sasquatch his raw meat at night without wearing a garlic necklace. Oh, and one of our waitresses, Skylar, hasn't forgiven Matt for the Kiera incident, a serial killer who tried to make Skylar one of her victims, which made her quit. Kira was caught after that. Oh, and then there's that one regular who smells a bit sulfuric who calls herself Lilith and refers to all the waiters as Adam and all the waitresses as Eve for some strange reason. And sometimes she flirts with, all the male customers. Jay doesn't buy it since he's in a fully committed polyamorous relationship with his boyfriend and girlfriend. Oh, also that one cult. They wear black hooded robes with the hoods pulled up, and after whatever cultish thing they do in the woods, they come back at 6 in the morning. Always 6, never late and never early. They sit down and order food. There's 20 members. Some of them look like they're 8 years old, and they're always nice. I don't think they're a cult, but that's how I describe it. They always eat when everyone else gets their meal, and they leave at 7:30. Always on time. I still haven't gotten their name, though. And always on midnight on Christmas Eve, a jolly fat man in a red suit with a beard always comes in. He would order milk, gingerbread cookies, and cookies to go. Okay. Jay once looked outside and told me that there's reindeer in his sleigh. We both figured that the man always gets into the holiday spirit. However, the fat man knew Jay's birth name and that he wanted throwing knives when he was 9. The man knew my real name, Ashlyn, which is a pseudonym for privacy reasons, but I go by Autumn on my name tag, since strangers knowing my names is weird. And he also knew how I wanted Slipknot tickets when I was 10, but he couldn't quite get our presents for us for some reason. We were unnerved by that, and we just chalked it up to this man having a really, really lucky guess. Oh, and during one St. Patrick's Day, a group of leprechauns came in and handed all of us workers some gold that promptly disappeared in an hour. Although we did have some pretty good business, which died down to its usual slow crawl after 3 hours. Well, that's all I got for right now. I'll post more sometime soon, since I'm on break and I'm currently being stared at by the Sasquatch waiting for his usual order of raw meat. Well, come back soon!